Hello and welcome to the Sunday Miracle Lab. This is Shirley, and I'm trying something new this week. I'm using an app to stream live to Facebook, my Facebook group, Miracles with Shirley, and also to YouTube. And so today, the topic that I'm going to discuss is, this group is all about um miracles and how to work miracles, how to tune into our extra sensory, extra wired up and resource self, and to work miracles. And today, what I'm going to speak about is what happens when we don't get the miracle and how to deal with the grief of that and how to reframe that. A little bit about myself. I'm Shirley, and I am a spiritual teacher. And a spiritual teacher is someone who grapples with the deep issues of life. And as they grapple with these, they gain some ground in understanding the big picture. And they're able to help people as they move through the transitions of life, the big Pluto moments of life, the moments of losing our job, our child dying, moments of divorce, moments of natural disaster and catastrophe and birthing pains of the world. And spiritual teachers from every tradition of life, whether they be Christian, whether they be um, Buddhist, whether they be Catholic, or any other religion or belief system, they are people that help people walk through these transitions. Hello, nice to see you. So hopefully I am live on Facebook in my group. I really hope that I am. Let's just see here. Okay, so it looks like Tracy's trying to get on. So let's just, so I should be streaming live to Facebook right now. So I really hope that I am. Oh, hi, Julia. Nice to see you. So hopefully this is streaming live to Facebook. So yeah, the transitions of life. So I'm just giving a little bit of backstory just in case anyone is new to Miracles with Shirley and they don't understand what I'm doing here or who I am or what this channel is about. So I'm a singer-songwriter, I'm a spiritual teacher, and I'm wondering if I could just really quick text. So I'm going to just text the people that are trying to get on. Search on YouTube. So this is my first time doing a stream to both groups, and so I hope that this will work. Let's see here. Okay, so this is an experiment. So yeah, so I teach about the spirit world, about why we're here, about what it's about. I teach about miracles, how we can create miracles. And most of the people that are attracted to my work and to my group are people that are shamanistic type of people in the training. They're people that are learning, they're older souls that are learning how to use their more advanced skills on this plane. And older souls, what's very interesting, they come in and they begin to navigate, and how you really know an older soul is they navigate more easily on this plane. They can get to the truth of spiritual sovereignty much quicker than other people. And often these people sign up for really difficult lifetimes because they know that if everything is just going sweet and hunky-dory in life, that often we won't even think about searching for our origin, where we come from. We won't even begin to put rockets of desire or begin to connect up. Ah, yay. Hi, Julia. we won't even begin to connect up to the bigger us, right? And the bigger us is waiting outside of time, waiting to connect to us. And the more difficulty we have in life, the more often we get trapped in a corner, and we have nowhere to go but inside, and to begin branching out and searching for our bigger self. And so today I'm talking about why miracles, when they go wrong, when we ask for them and they don't come through for us, how can we reframe that? How can we attend to that? How can we deal with our grief? And this week it takes a very personal note because my little cousin got pregnant with a little boy who his skull didn't develop properly. And everyone gave her just the hardest time over the fact that she decided to carry this child, even though they were believing that he wasn't going to live, from her first ultrasound, I believe. And so um, she decided to carry this baby anyway, in the hope that a miracle would happen. And in our family, she's got a lot of history that would really prove that this was a wise choice. We have had so many babies that have had problems that we have, as a family, joined together, asked for miracles, believed in miracles, called them forward, and they've happened. We have little Zachary, who was a blue baby. His mom was Rh negative, and he was born blue. All of the family joined together, prayed. He survived. I didn't think he was going to survive. We have little Michael, who was born at 1 pound. His mother was addicted to drugs, and miracle of miracles, he was born and he was okay, and he is doing quite well. And we have also little Miracle Ann. Little Miracle Ann was also born way early. Hi, Tracy. Way early, in she was also like 1 pound, and she also survived. And so we have this big history of miracles happening. Even my little brother Dustin, when he was little, he had all of a sudden this autoimmune attack that was really intense, where I was watching my mom nurse him, and all of a sudden he started breaking out in these bruises all over his body. They just appeared out of nowhere. Turns out he had some rare autoimmune disease. And we asked for a miracle, and a miracle was granted. Now, it really helps that we actually have, one of our matriarchs is really a shaman person, right? In other words, she's very extra specially gifted, extra specially wired up to perform miracles. She has a gift, like her gift that was given to her is a gift of working miracles. And so, as a young person, I watched these miracles too, and heard about these miracles. And so she really had a lot of history, and she had faith in that, right? So here she goes and she delivers this baby, and I believe she got to spend some time with him. It was a very miserable pregnancy at the very end because his bag of waters wouldn't break, and it was swelling, and it continued to gain water, and it was just making her absolutely miserable. Her whole belly was misshaped and overflowing. And they finally induced her and broke the water, and he was delivered. And the family got to spend, I don't know how many hours or days exactly, but they got to spend some time with this little boy, David Michael, and they got to love on him. And then he died. And in this group, we went in and we asked for a miracle, and we used the best of our miracle working tools um, to heal David Michael's skull. Now, what was really interesting is that he was born, and the skull was not nearly as bad as they thought it was going to be. They thought it was going to be a lot worse. And so maybe the healing had started. Maybe it was in the process. I don't really know. All I know is that he did die. And it's a great grief for my cousin, her husband, the other 6 children that they have, for my aunt and all of the aunts and uncles that and cousins and all of that. even into the great aunts and the great uncles and the distant, cousins like myself. And I mean, she's my first cousin, but he was my second. But there was a lot of grief in the family over it. But there was also a lot of blessing. My sister Alicia miscarried, I believe, two sets of twins and one other child. And it's been the greatest grief of her life is losing these children. And she didn't get to hold them, and she didn't get to love on them, and she didn't get to connect with them. And so, like so many mothers don't get to hold their babies that they lose. And my cousin considered it a blessing that she got to hold him, to meet him, to see him. But they're pretty broken up about it. It's a sad thing. It's a sad thing to lose a family member before, right as they're starting. One of the things that is so interesting to me is when a family member is born and I see that child, or even when they bring their partner home, because I'm really wired up to see the spiritual dimension, I recognize, oh, that's the soul. That's right. That's the plan. Oh, it's you again. Like I know you. And there's just all this familiarity, this soul familiarity in families. And it's a very beautiful, beautiful thing. That it's almost like you're tipping and touching that ancient memory of what the plan is and what you all conspired coming in together. The family lines that you are lifting, the generational curses that you are transforming and transmuting as a group. And it's a beautiful, beautiful connection that we share as family. And, so we lost little David Michael, and it's a very sad thing. And it's at the same time, like we don't know that us showing up for a miracle, like I said in my post, if it allowed him to be born, maybe he would have died, weeks before his birth. We don't know. Maybe maybe he was due to die upon birth and they got to have hours with him. Maybe our bringing our soul energy and adding to the miracle and calling forth the highest good for all, maybe that extended his life to where his family could meet him and know him. And we don't know what kind of problems he would have had, right? We don't know if he would have been healed all the way. I've one miracle that I was a part of working. The little girl was born. She was supposed to die. She was supposed to take a breath and die. And then what happened is she was born. I worked a miracle on her. I felt called really heavily into it. She was born, and she had Gumby bones, and she was born with hard bones. So she had Gumby bones in utero. You could see all of her bones just, like if you had the Gumby material, there was just no, they were limp. They were bent over like taffy. And somehow during her pregnancy, that miraculously changed to be where she was born with hard bones. And that was the only thing I knew was wrong with her. That's the work I was called to do. And when I went back in to try to work on her again, because she had other problems after she was born, she had a cleft palate. She has had to be on a breathing apparatus most of her life. She has dwarfism, which is, creates some problems in her development. And I tried to go back in and do more work on her. I was so excited that this miracle had worked. But I wasn't allowed to. There was a very strong feeling. The energy was not supported. It's like, this is who she came here to be. But it's an amazing thing. And as you watch her family has, they work really deeply in the handicapped community, actually changing things for people that they'll never meet. And their story, it's just beginning. I have no idea what this young woman will do. She's now just in her, I believe, late teens, early 20s. So we have no idea what she's going to do with her life. And like I said in my post, I would rather show up 1,000 times and be denied a miracle, even if there's one shot that one miracle is going to work. And then I'm going to get to see the power of God and the power of our souls collectively move. I yearn for that. I crave that. I love seeing our souls move. I love seeing the power of love flow through all of us. So if I have to show up and be unsuccessful, I mean, even people that make music, people that make inventions, they sometimes will show up thousands of times before something will actually work. And sometimes, like what we find in our creative process is that we hijack our miracle, right? We hijack the thing that we're working on by giving up. One young woman that, I'm also I own a sound studio, and we work with artists, and it's very interesting to watch. Like a lot of artists, they come in, and if they get any kind of constructive criticism, they completely abort the song, right? If the rhythm doesn't exactly work, they give up on the thing that they're trying to birth. And I'm having that going on right now too in my music. I had created this song Into the Blue, and I love it so much, but it is really out of time and out of sync, right? Like, in other words, when you try to dance to it, it's like there's little places where it doesn't line up, and you don't feel a flow with it. And like, I'm a channel. I bring forward music, I bring forward inspiration, and it just comes how it comes. I don't have control over whether it's in time or not in my creative process. Okay. It's just comes and it births, and I manipulate time to convey emotion. I'm in this like etheric state of just feeling connection with the idea that's trying to be brought forward. And I'm not conscious of the linear constraints of this world when I'm in that place. And I've been faced with like, okay, I'm not liking this song as I'm creating it as much as I would like it if it was in, like, I wish that I could dance to it. And I wish there's little things that make it not feel as good, to where I'm a little embarrassed of it, right? So, like, my brother took and he actually put it to time, and this is what it would sound like. And it sounds way different. But I'm like, learning to grow and expand with the miracles that are trying to be born through us. Um, yeah, they will put doubt, but part of it is that it's good not to share our ideas and to protect them. But there is a time we do need to bring them out before others that are in the field that we're in and get expert advice, right? Because this is what makes our art so much better. This is what makes the thing that we're doing so much better, is that crash with the real world, right? We all have these ideas. I'm watching as my young sons that want to be sound engineers and musicians, and they want to make music, and as they're coming into like the reality of their dream, we thought that there'd be people just running through the door to our studio to sign up for them to engineer their work. Not the case, right? The reality, it bangs up against what's happening. And what we have to pay attention to is where the energy is flowing, because they've taught me, the oversouls have taught me, that when we say go and make a decision and we decide to go away and we knock on that door, if the door answers, then it's the right door. If it doesn't answer, then it's not the right door. Now, sometimes there's a lot of wisdom between knowing, like, do we knock further? Do we keep knocking, right? Do we keep knocking? And I think the things that we're truly committed to, we keep knocking. I'm committed to miracles. And the reason why I created this group is because I believe that we need miracles in the world, right? In other words, the powers and the things that we're fighting, they're not physical. They have physical manifestations. But that's kind of like the after effect, right? We are fighting spiritual entities. And we have to push back with our spiritual power. And we've gotten so conditioned out of our spiritual power that we don't even realize we have it. We don't even know that it's there. So how can we as a humanity tap into our spiritual power when we haven't even begun to go to the gym? We haven't begun to flex those muscles. We don't know what our soul is capable of. So many people, if you want to talk about little ideas that are tender, and people sharing ideas about their intuition and the way that their magic works, their own personal magic. This is um it's so beautiful and it's so tender. And to see the way that people share, like, what is my superpower, what way has life communicated about the supernatural to me. So beautiful to see people come and share their things that they're sharing about it. But it's so tender, right? Like, it's so tender. And what we want to become is the kind of people that have these big muscles, these big spiritual muscles that help us to transform the planet, because it works. We can do it. If we put 1 millionth of the energy into our soul technologies that we put into the making and distribution of prescription drugs, right? Or all of these other things that we have that we consider to be real, and all of these things, if we put just even a little bit of energy. The thing is that the spiritual power is so much more, and it's been hidden from us. It's been hidden because it is more powerful, right? We are like, if these entities that we're up against are of the darkness, and they have power, they have spiritual power, they know how to bring out technologies from the ethers, from the astral plane, and how to get it to work on this plane. They've got the program, they've got access to the information, right? That runs this reality. And they're messing with a creation that is here for people to learn their lessons, and it's polluting the planet. I mean, if we really begin to study humanity and where we were a few hundred years ago, I mean, I was reading this thing the other day about being, these old sayings that we have, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and being piss poor, and all of these different things, right? Like, it's an amazing research if you read back into what things were like in the 1700s, what things were like in the 1800s, the kind of things that we used to face, the baby in the bathwater. And once a year, everybody took a bath because hot water was scarce and it was a lot of work. So they create a bath, and dad got the bath first. And then, like, it went down the line. And by the time they got to the baby, the water's black, right? Don't throw the baby out with the bath water. You got to find the baby in this black suit, right? But everybody got their bath. So everybody got married in June, was because the bath happened in May, and they still smelled pretty good, right? By the time they got to June. And why did women have flowers? Because, well, the really poor people, they used to tan a lot of hides with urine. And um, the really poor people wouldn't even have a pot to piss in, so they would have to catch it with their hands. So the brides would carry flowers to disguise the smell of their hands, right? So they'd smell nice. So these old stories about what we had to deal with, where we come from, each and every one of us, most of us, lives better than the greatest king of old, the person with the most money, right? We are having, we are at the place where we could have a very paradisical experience here on this planet. We have so much that we've done, and we have so much that we've created, that in our development and in our working together to create things. And right now we are threatened with this darkness, this dark energy that's been polluting our food and our skies and our water and all of these different things, and controlling us with pandemics and all of these things. They are threatening to destroy all that we've built. And they are a spiritual entity, and the way that we have to come against them is with our spiritual power. And guess what? When life is hunky dory, when things are good, we don't tap into our spiritual power. but we have developed it through lifetimes, right? So this is old soul people, are people that somehow flow with these giftings and they don't know where they came from. It's because they unlocked a level in another lifetime. So the thing is that we don't want to abort our creative miracles and our purposes and the things that we're bringing forward on this planet before they're born, right? And we have to check into, like into the truth of, do I keep going this direction or do I go a different way? Right? Do I tweak it? Do I bring in an approach? Just like with my song. Can the song, I love it so much, but can I sing it more to rhythm? And it changes the way it feels and it changes the things of it. But in the end, I can dance to it. And so that's a choice that I'm coming up against. And with my music, it has been such a process of faith in myself, of loving my own dream, loving my own art, loving my own creation that's coming forward from me, and holding to it and allowing it to be adjusted to this reality, right? And it's the same with miracles. We don't know the bigger picture. Most of us don't know. We don't know what the bigger picture was for David Michael. We don't know if he was just here to influence his mother. Maybe it's her father from early in her life who died that wanted to just come in and be with her for 9 months. Who knows? We do not know what is going on here. And so we need to not let it destroy our not let it destroy our faith in what we are making in ourselves with becoming miracle makers, with becoming shamanistic people that are able to bend the fabric of reality for the benefit and good of all. Because this is who we are becoming. This is who I am becoming. And this is who the people that are collaborating with me. This miracle, Sunday Lab, was born out of, I love this planet. I want to see this world survive. I want the best for everybody here. Even these beings that are influencing are part of our soul group. And I see how magic can be made. I see how we can build our muscles by, when we exercise faith, we go forward and we build a platform, this little tiny platform. And at first we're like walking a little wire, right? Like an acrobat, with this hope and this faith that the spirit of love is going to show up in our lives. And then the more times we do it, the more times we have faith. I believe that this can happen. I believe that that can happen. I believe what happens is we begin to build a platform, and then we can just walk around. It's like it just becomes our reality. And so the more that we work miracles, the more we can work miracles. The more we understand the parameters of a miracle, right? It all has to come up against what the soul has planned. If we're working a miracle for someone, if it interferes with their soul's reason for being on this planet, well, then it will not come into being, because the soul has free will to, it is empowered, because this planet was built so that soul could learn its life lesson, that it could explore the different aspects, the different realities of being human, the different attributes of our souls, by coming into a limited experience and learning to find, the soul learns to find its power again. And it's, like we're just, it's like I have children and I've worked really hard to give them a good life, right? As a mom. And sometimes, there can be a little bit of entitlement, right? Because they don't know. They don't know what it's like to have to struggle, to have to hustle, to have to that they're just innocent, right? And so what we can do is we can, like the soul is in this innocent place, this absolutely beautiful innocent place in the spiritual realms, and it comes into this experience and begins to explore from a limited way, sometimes from the opposite, all of the aspects of self, and coming into this full understanding of its entitlement, right? Like if we were to look at the soul technologies and what we enjoy as souls, like Star Trek looks like archaic old technology, right? It's like even if it was up to date with, they were making movies, but replicators and force fields and all of these different things are archaic compared to what the soul just naturally experiences. And so we can move. We left our innocence and we came to discover it again, right? We came to discover that innocence again through all of these different things. And so the soul has absolute choice. The soul has, so whatever the soul is willing to happen and what the soul came for, that is the running, that's the base program rules for that individual. So if we go to try to work a miracle for someone that is wanting to experience this kind of limitation, we're going against the soul's will, right? And this isn't really allowed. I mean, there's some, and again, it's not an always thing. I've heard stories of people in Africa that have so much faith that they raise people from the dead, and the old people are like, "Oh my God, would you stop it? I just really want to like rest in peace. Quit doing this." So in that way, like, but we don't know sometimes why miracles are allowed to come. Like maybe it was just so I could tell that story, so you could tell that story, so that this story could come into being, right? That this old person got raised from the dead and got to live a bit longer. And but we're talking the primary reasons, that our will that is running, like I want a pink Cadillac and I want $1 million in the bank, is not the will that miss partially, for some people that is a true desire and a true will, but for most people it's not really in alignment with what they came for. So we're talking about the will of the oversoul, which the oversoul is the one that planned this entire thing for you. And that oversoul is a cell in the body of the God family. And the God family, none of us really know what the God family is doing, right? We don't know if we have to grow and come together and work the miracles that are going to transform this world together, or if we are going to, if the love is just going to show up as the parent somehow and rectify all of this. We really don't know. We don't know how it's all going to happen. No soul knows that, right? We all are not the whole in the highest understanding about what's happening here. If you were to look at all of our parts are more informed in love, right? There's higher parts of us. Your higher self is more informed in love. Your oversoul is much more informed in love than the higher self. Your God spark is much more informed than your oversoul. And the totality of all of our God sparks together, the being that makes up, that are all on the same page, we don't understand totally what the purposes that are being wrought here, right? What they have explained to me is that there is more every day because of our willingness to be in experiences like this. If we were to look out, we have more sneaker stores. We have more kinds of things that we've done with olive oil. We have more uh, organizational systems. We have so much as a humanity that we just create and create and create. And so even like they've talked to me before about how we've lost some things, right? And one of the things that we really grieve is losing bloodlines. The bloodlines, we cultivate them for centuries, and then to just have them end, it's a sad thing for a soul, right? In the soul world, so much energy put into something. We've lost species of animals, but they tell me that there are new things coming into being all the time. And if you really study like journey of souls and destiny of souls, you'll see that souls do take partake in the action of creating life forms, plant life forms and animal life forms and all of that. And so we don't know necessarily if there are new life forms that are showing up all the time in the ocean or somehow somewhere. We're discovering new things all the time. Sometimes science is like, we didn't know that this was here, right? This little animal that we've never seen, right? And there are new things, there are new bloodlines that are being born and going off in different directions. So we're riding, we're riding this wave of infinity that is moving us into whatever greatest expansion the God family has planned. And I do believe that the God family's will, in all these complicated things, will eventually be done, because we know that they're in eternity and it is already complete in how everything is played out. And yet we are like the blood catching up to the heart of God here in infinity, experiencing. And so, how do we deal with the grief? It's really hard for some of us. For some of us, our I want is how we create, it's how we bring forward. Um, it's how we bring forward beautiful, beautiful things, right? It's how we. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how to adjust the screen here. So it's how we create so much beauty here as souls. We create so much, but some of us have this like our way is our desire, and when we don't get what we want, like there's this really really difficult thing. The more strong-willed you are, and if you don't get what you want, it's really difficult to attend to. I have a girlfriend that this guy just really did not want to be with her, and she kept being with him even through distance and all of these different things. They just kept getting back together, and um, eventually, I mean, it took her so many years to let go of him. And when she finally did, was amazing because her right life just unfolded in like 5 minutes. It seemed like it was just like she met this person and they were just aligned and they wanted a family, and she got everything that she wanted, but she had to let go first, right? She had to let go, and that was really hard for her because she's so strong-willed to let go of the last guy, right? That really didn't want her. She kept her will was so strong, she kept him involved in a semi relationship for many many years beyond their relationship. But when she finally let go and she finally surrendered, then her right life just really unfolded. And it's a beautiful thing, this thing that we want. And so like how I grieve these things, I mean, and there's processes of grief, there's stages. I mean, we these are spiritual realities that I'm talking about. In spiritual realities, we have a spiritual self, and spiritual reality is one level of reality. It's the ultimate level of reality, but we cannot bypass the emotional reality, nor the physical reality, nor the mental reality, right? They're all four different systems that feed into the same river, but there are different aspects, and their rules don't overlay on each other. So, like, even if we know the spiritual reality, I know the spiritual reality that David Michael is returning to eternity, and that he's in the arms of love, and that he likely got what he came for, and he gave what he came to give. But the emotional reality of my cousin and her family and my aunt and all of these other people, that's a different thing to attend to. I have to feel my feelings about that. I have to write it out. I have to accept this reality that's come forward. And I was, working a miracle to try to bring forward a different reality, but it didn't land all the way. He didn't get to stay. And so, the emotional reality has to be attended to. And even on a desire level, the thing that we wanted, right? We wanted this guy. We wanted that house. We wanted, very specific things that we were set on, and we didn't get them. There's a grief process that we have to go through. But the tool that I found that moves me through it much quicker is, especially in relationships with other people, is to just, feel the pain that they couldn't be the kind of person that I wanted and needed them to be in the moment. And to really let that process through, right? To fully feel that, like, man, it really sucks that you were not on the same romantic page that I was about our anniversary, or it really sucks that this is where you are right now and that you're not able to be in attendance to me in this way that I wanted you to be, right? And even, with our own spiritual self and with our relationship with source, like attending to the grief of, like, God, you didn't give this miracle to me. And I have to trust the higher wisdom in that, even though I don't understand it, even though I don't like it, even though it's not the reality that I want. I have to trust that all of these things will work together for good. And there's so many stories about people, the unanswered prayers of the people that they didn't get to marry, that down the road, it's like something so much more wonderful comes, something so much more them, someone so much more their partner. Sometimes even it's the jobs, and I think that when you're looking at miracles, it's a really good thing to get into the habit of, when that no comes smack into your face, to say, God's bringing me something even better. To begin to believe for that, to begin to, instead of contracting and closing down and shutting up and being hardened and hurt by that, to actually say, God is bringing me something even better. I think that all of these things can make sense. The place that they don't is in the death of a child, right? How could God bring us something better than our own child? Nothing, right? But, some of the people that I've witnessed and watched. I have a friend that lost her husband, and the beauty that's been born out of that. Oh my goodness, it's so rich and so full. And so, I know she would trade all of it in an instant to have him back. But the fruit of that has been beautiful. She started talking to him. He showed up to her. They had a soul connection that continued. Their relationship turned supernatural. And and he taught her about life, and he expanded her in ways that she could have never imagined. And another friend of mine lost her son, and the beautiful places it took her in her energy healing work have enriched my life so much, and have enriched the lives of so many. And and I believe that it's just beginning for her. The bounty. She was so tightly wound, and so had so much fear before this happened, and her worst fear was realized. and she walked it out. And she was expanded in ways that she couldn't even imagine. Her whole family was. And it's difficult to look at these obstacles that come in our way of what we want and what we feel we need and the things that happen to us. It's hard to say that it's worth it, all of the beauty that we received from it. All the beauty that I received from childhood sexual abuse and childhood abuse. Like, how could, I am the beauty that I am today because of that. I mean, it's hard to admit that. I would not have come in to know my own soul the way that I did had I not been born in the way that I was born, and into the family and into the chaos and the struggle that I was born into. I mean, everything was just so specifically planned. I mean, it's so hard to imagine that. I mean, every little piece was in place for this happening that happened through me. And I could have hardened, I could have reclused, I could have closed down when these things happened. I could have become the most bitter girl on the block. And it would have been okay if I had. But I didn't. I opened more and more and more. Help me understand. Help me to see this. Help me to heal this. Help me to understand, to transmute this. And you'll find that a lot of the older souls are transmuters. They take these awful dark things inside of them and they turn them into light, turn them into beauty. They take ashes, the Pluto that burns our life to the ground, and they become this phoenix, this bird that rises and flies and shines so brightly because of it. And so we always have the choice. And this is what the Oversouls told me, is that we all have one thing that is very fair. The one thing that we all have is we all have a chance to do the best we can with what we have. We all don't get the same things. We all don't get the same lives, the same challenges, the same issues. But we do get a chance to, whatever we get, to turn that into beauty, to turn that into joy, to turn it into something gorgeous. And that is the true nature of our souls, is we are that true beauty. We are that true gorgeousness. And this planet proves that no matter what we do, no matter what happens here, no matter how ugly, no matter how dark, no matter how closed off we get, and all of those souls that are dark and closed off right now, their soul, in that dark soil, there's the most beautiful life that is going to be beginning to burst through them. And this is the beautiful work that we are doing here. And the many lifetimes forward, if we look, the beauty, those very things that we thought were the most ugly, that we thought were the most unlovable, those are the things that become the most beautiful thing about us. And in my soul experience, I was a dark magician. I was a dark, dark being. And out of that nasty, dark place, I am the beauty that has risen out of that. And it's a gorgeous thing. And the value of souls is very different than the value of humans. We're just all looking to survive and to have nice experiences and to avoid pain and to have everything go our way. But that is not what the soul is after. The soul is after the wise beauty. The soul is after the transmutation. Not just being the entitled child of God, but yet coming into the full knowledge of our beauty and the light. Like, this is who we are. We will, no matter how dark it gets, we will always come back to our light at some point because our light is so much greater than our darkness. And that's the thing about magic. That's the thing about miracles is if we can begin to show up and to say, something better is coming. I knocked on the door, it didn't answer. That means that there's a greater door that is coming for me. I knocked on this door and a different way was happening, right? And my cousin and her husband, they are being deepened. If you watch souls over their lifetimes, there are phases of development, just like toddler and, you know, preschool and all of these different levels of development that we reach as human beings. We have all these milestones and markers that we hit as souls. And we all have atheistic lives. We have times when we experience the idea where we choose a personality and a bloodline that has no belief in anything supernatural. And that is part, just completely dense and grounded in reality so heavily, right? And that is a beautiful thing for the soul. It's a beautiful experience to experience the idea that there is no God and all of this just happened by chance and all of these different things. It's a wonderful exploration for the soul. And, like it's a beautiful thing to deny the love for a while, to deny that love exists, because there is no atheist that is really embracing the idea that love exists, because that is the true miracle, is that on this wild planet that love could be born. That is the miracle, and that is who we are. And even though we're in this wild world, like there's been so much love that's been born here. And the fact that we can find it here, we are just applauded and we are so cherished by our loved ones in the God family. And so, like, how can we, like there are stages of development. All souls go through periods of losing their children. And usually the child is a guide. It's an older soul that's been guiding them through many lifetimes. And that guide comes in, that the soul has such a deep love and such a deep admiration of this guide. And they play a role, and there is an energetic connection that is formed, and there is a supernatural connection that is formed as they begin to interact with their loved one out of body, right? So there's, some of us close off our hearts. We're allowed to close it off however long we want to. But eventually, we'll choose life, and eventually life and love will break through us and grow through us again. So how do we? All souls go through all kinds of different levels, right? And you find that in the lifetimes where the children are lost, which for many of us that was all the, so few children survived in olden days. We are set in such a paradisical time right now if we can get these dark energies off our back, right? Like we have so much. We have so much food. We have so much shelter. We have so much wisdom. And so if we can get these dark energies off our back, which are causing most of our health problems and causing most of our relationship problems and all of those things, then we'd be doing really, really well as a humanity. And we'd be having a lot of joy and freedom. And if we could bring forward systems um, to govern this world, right? And to set the structures up in a more aligned fashion with the higher ideals that we experience as souls, and that we that truly work, then we could move into a very paradisical time of peace and prosperity for all. And I believe that that's the new world that everyone's talking about. But we've got to survive this thing that's coming, and it's right around the corner. It's right around the corner. And so join me here weekly as we continue to grow our understanding, to grow our ability to work miracles. I believe that when we all come together, and we join together and we point our love at something, it is a super love beam that can break through any barrier. And we need to grow our love. We need to grow our ability to focus that love. We need to grow our faith in believing that we can do that, right? And so I'm leading in that. I'm pioneering in this area. And we're going to work miracles with humanity. And so thank you so much for coming today. We're a bit over the hour. We usually join every Sunday at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And the only exception to that is holidays, because my brain goes into matriarch mode and I can't even if I try to do it, I just won't remember because I'll get so concerned with the turkey or whatever it is that we're doing. And so usually holidays I'm not on, or sometimes I just need a break. But most Sundays I am on for a Miracle Sunday Lab, where I continue to help answer the questions and guide through the information that has been given to me, the guidance that I've received to help expand into miracle making and into spiritual maturity and understanding the big picture of life, why we're here, what it's about, and also learning how to get along with others, learning how to heal our masculine and feminine wounds. I touch into all of the dimensions and teach practical tools. And we also go into all kinds of different extrasensory gifts and abilities and working those together. So thank you so much for coming today. I so enjoyed your energy here. All of you that are watching the replay, thank you so much for coming. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. If I can figure out how to get out of this. Oh, okay. All right. Bye. Nice seeing you guys. Yeah, I'm glad I'm chosen to get onto YouTube too. I figure that I can hire somebody to take these and cut them into different little parts and start getting things up. But I want to get my message out. I need lots of people to come and work miracles and to grow their faith in miracles. So wonderful to see all of you, my faithful friends who show up and listen to me week after week. Thank you so much. And everyone have an absolutely beautiful and fantastic week. And be with yourself as you grieve the miracles that didn't happen, but yet open your heart to the ones that are coming. Okay. Bye. Love to you all.